네, 그러면 셀박 후원의 주의원을 위원회를 맡으신 김덕기 대표님 심사 말씀 듣겠습니다.
오늘
갈비탕 같은 거는
저희들한테는 참 좋은 날이고 어떻게 보면 기쁜 날이라고 생각합니다. 왜냐하면 우리 쌤이 지금 우리 정계 활동을 8년을 끝마쳤습니다. 앞으로 다시 한번 돌아가면 이제 10년을 하는데 이제는 많이 컸습니다. 제가 쌤을 처음에 이런 모임을 가졌을 때 엊그제 같았었는데 벌써 10년이 다 돼갑니다. 오랜 시간 동안 그동안에 우리 젊은 친구가 그 주류사회에 나가서 그 우리의 노고, 우리의 그 뭐라 그럴까요? 권익, 우리의 권리를 위해서 많이 싸워주었고 그동안에 한 일도 또 많이 있습니다. 여러 가지 그거는 이따가 그 본인 쌤이 이야기를 할 것 같고요. 일단은 여러분들 정말 대단히 감사하고요. 오늘 이 모임은 제가 한 게 아닙니다. 저희 위원회에서 다 같이 이렇게 했습니다. 저희 위원들을 한번 소개를 해드릴게요. 제일 처음에 우리 이국자 전 한국학교 이사장님, 네, 다 같이 했습니다. 그 다음에 권오석 지금 대한체육회 회장님 같이 일을 하시고 있습니다. 그 다음에 윤모세 장로님 저희들하고 항상 같이 이런 일을 다 하고 있습니다. 그 다음에 또 누가 있죠? 우리 박건권 그 사장님, 일은 다 도맡아서 혼자 하고 있습니다. 그 다음에 우리 이경철 회장님이 여러분도 다 아시지만 아까 잠깐 들렸었어요. 근데 한국에서 오늘 아침에 와가지고 피곤하다고 그냥 들어가셨어요. 이경철 회장님, 그 다음에 또 한 분이 계시는데 김형률 회장님, 그분도 우리하고 같이 일을 하고 있고 제일 참 일을 많이 하신 분 중에 한 분이 우리 조송의 의원님 열심히 저희들을 위해서 일을 해주시고 계십니다. 대단히 감사하고요. 일단은 우리 쌤한테 자기가 무슨 일을 했고 또 앞으로는 무슨 일을 해야겠다 이런 이야기를 많이 좀 듣고 그 다음에 순서로 넘어가겠습니다. 감사합니다.
안녕하세요. 죄송한데요. 그 미국말랑 할게요. 그 한국말을 아직 잘 못하니까요. First and foremost, I want to just say thank you to every single person in this room for coming out to support my fifth time running for office in the Georgia House of Representatives. So thank you so much. A second thank you to all of the Korean community leaders who for the past 8 years have been so critical in supporting my leadership and really allowing the Korean community to build real political power here in the state of Georgia. When I was first elected 8 years ago, I was the only Asian American out of 236 legislators in the state of Georgia, the 8th largest state in the country. Today we have 11. And I hope all of the community leaders and everyone who supported me recognizes that by helping to get me elected 8 years ago, you have helped create Asian American political power here in the state of Georgia that has transformed this state and this country. That's the power that we have by working together. and certainly with the support that you've given me to have this opportunity to lead here in the state of Georgia and to serve the Korean community and everyone here in Georgia. So I am really grateful and humble, especially in seeing a lot of the elders and the leaders here who I knew growing up as a child here in the state, which I think makes it all the more special. But to that point, we are going through a very difficult period of time in American history, right? This is a dangerous moment in which democracy and freedom and human rights that we know of is really at risk. And we have to be clear-eyed with the dangers that we face, but also recognize that we have the power to ensure that we can together overcome this very, very difficult period of time. But it's stories like mine that I recognize is an example of why we have to do everything within our power this year to protect American democracy and the right to vote in particular. Only in a country like ours, only in a democracy like ours, can someone like me have an opportunity to be elected by the power of the vote and serve to ensure that our community, the Korean American community, has a real seat at the table when it comes to so many different things that impact our daily lives, from healthcare to education to economic development to public safety. These are all things that each person who supported me, by each person who has voted, that you have a seat at the table. Now, I know, oftentimes we're in a very hyper-political environment. It's oftentimes Republican versus Democrat, right? And as a Democrat in a state controlled by Republicans, it's been difficult. It's been a difficult 8 years. But what I want to encourage you, especially in this moment, is to put community first. To put community first, to put country first, and to be wise in terms of how you use your resources and the power of your vote to make sure that this country lives up to its highest principles and standards of ensuring freedom, equality, and justice for all. That's the opportunity that we have in this moment. By coming out to a political fundraiser, to coming out to support me, that's the work that we are doing. Not only are we protecting and preserving American democracy, we are creating a new foundation for the next generation of Korean Americans to rise up and lead at the city council level, at the state level, and certainly at the national level. All right? People around this country are always amazed that we have one of the largest Asian American legislative caucuses in the country with 11 members. We went from 1 to 11. That's because of the work of each person in this room and supporting me and demonstrating to all the other Asian American communities, Chinese, Vietnamese, Filipino, Bangladeshi, Indian American, that if we come together and work together, that we can build real political power. Now, over the 8 years, there's two things that I'm very proud of that I've been able to accomplish, even though I've been in the minority party. One I've already mentioned, which is really building political power for our community. And I want to talk a little bit more about what that means, because it's not just a matter of a title, it's not just a matter of having a seat, it's a matter of having the ability to have the freedom and control over money, taxpayer dollars, to invest in our communities, to ensure our businesses can thrive, to ensure that the next generation, that your kids, my nephew, has the best education we can possibly afford, that we are bringing good jobs into the state, right? That's something that each and every person here in this room has an opportunity to shape and foster. And by ensuring that we have a large Asian American political presence here in the state of Georgia, we can also fight for our rights. Earlier this year, they passed legislation that would make it difficult for Chinese Americans to purchase property in the state of Georgia. We saw what happened when Trump was president when he used the term China virus, right? When he used the term Kung flu, that increased violence, discrimination, and hatred toward all of us, right? But because of the power of the vote, in 2020, Asian Americans, Korean Americans turned out in historic numbers and changed the course of this country in 2020. And I believe we still have that opportunity this year and beyond. So that's one. Second, as a Korean American elected official, as the longest serving Korean American in the state of Georgia, as the longest serving Asian American, and the first to ever be elected to a leadership position in either chamber, in either caucus, Republican or Democrat, I'm the first, right? That's a barrier that y'all have broken by supporting me, right? But one of the things I'm so proud of is also strengthening the relationship between the state of Georgia and the Republic of Korea. Over the past 8 years, we have seen historic investment from Korean companies, billions of dollars coming to the state of Georgia. That's because the economic development team here in Georgia, in a bipartisan manner, sees the power of the Korean community. All these Korean companies, why are they locating in Commerce, Georgia for SK Innovation, right? And Hyundai, the mega plant out in Savannah. It's because of the Korean community here. It's because of the decades of work of investment and building out a thriving community that all these Korean companies now want to move to the state of Georgia, which will transform this state for generations to come. Again, that is work that you should take credit for, that each person who has contributed and voted, that you should claim credit for and be proud of, right? Now, a lot of the legislative issues that I've worked on, unfortunately, have not passed. My number one issue being ensuring that every person has access to health care. But we have had some successes, one in terms of economic development, not just in terms of increasing foreign investment into the state of Georgia, but also with respect to education. So on the economic development piece, we were able to lower income taxes for everybody here in the state of Georgia. In Gwinnett County, we were able to lower property taxes by passing a tax exemption, right? And over the past few years, we were able to get the state of Georgia in a bipartisan manner to set aside up to $5 billion for procurement purposes, right? To give greater opportunities for Asian-owned businesses, for women-owned businesses, to receive the billions of dollars every single year that come from the state so that we can invest in our companies, so that our communities can continue to thrive. And we have to continue to insist on ensuring that we are receiving the investment. Everybody here, especially all of the business leaders, how much do y'all pay in taxes, right? That investment needs to be returned to our community. It needs to be returned and be invested in our healthcare, in our education, and in our safety, right? That's an opportunity we have so long as we continue to remain active, continue to vote, continue to participate in the political process to ensure that we really have that seat at the table. Now, going forward, certainly there's many things that I want to accomplish, but first and foremost remains expanding access to health care here in the state of Georgia. Right now, Georgia is one of the worst states in the country for health care. We have the second or third highest uninsured rate, more than 600,000 Georgians who have no health insurance. We have some of the worst health outcomes because people cannot get affordable, quality health care. That's an issue in which if we expanded Medicaid, which I've been advocating for the past 8 years, not only would we be helping hundreds of thousands of people, we would be bringing in about $2 to $3 billion of federal dollars into the state of Georgia every single year for the next 10 years at a minimum. That would create 30,000 healthcare jobs. That would infuse money, billions of dollars into our hospitals, into our rural infrastructure, our healthcare infrastructure, right? These are all things that we can accomplish if we continue to lean in. Second, my number one political objective right now is to build a new majority in the State House, right? I've been able to build good relationships with Democrats and Republicans, white, black, Hispanic, Asian. We have to work together. And one of the critical things in my mind is to ensure that we have a Democratic majority in the State House. One, to ensure accountability, right? Our government is a government of checks and balances, of accountability, of transparency, to ensure that all this power that we have as we the people is truly being used and invested for our best interest. For each person and for your families to thrive, to live safely, to ensure that the next generation has every opportunity to pursue their American dream, whatever that may be, right? And so for the next few years, that is going to be my primary focus of helping candidates, including Michelle Kang, of course, right? Michelle Kang is in one of the most competitive districts in the state of Georgia, and she has an opportunity to win. She has an opportunity to ensure that the Korean community has another representative and advocate and fighter in the Georgia State Legislature, one of the most powerful bodies that we have here in the South. And in the South, here in the state of Georgia, let's zoom out a little bit. Folks in Alabama, folks in Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, they all look at us as a model as an example of what it looks like to succeed, of what it looks like to build real political power, where we are not just cozying up to someone so that hopefully they'll take care of us. No, I hope that those days are gone. I hope that we will never forget that March 16th shooting in 2021, in which it is insufficient for us to simply work hard, keep our head down, and stay out of trouble. No, I want us to have a seat at the table to pass good laws that will protect our community, that will ensure that someone can't get a gun and go on a shooting rampage in one day, at the very least. I want our law enforcement to recognize that we are American citizens, that we are not foreigners, that this is our country, that this is our home, and that they are here to protect and serve each and every one of us. Last thing I'll say, and then I'm happy to take any questions or turn it back over. But last thing I'll say is, with the election this November, I'm concerned. Right? We saw what happened with President Biden during the debate, had a very, very difficult time. But I think the greatest danger that this country has ever faced, certainly in my lifetime, and I'll be turning 40 years old next year. So in 40 years, I have never seen the kind of danger that we face in the form of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not for us. This is not a matter of a Republican or a Democrat. This is a matter of American democracy. If Donald Trump says he is going to be a dictator on day one, believe him. Right? He is going to take away our rights. He is going to deport immigrants, which is what he said. That is their plan. Right? They are going to close the borders to countries in which they don't want people to come from. Right? There is extremism. There is anti-immigrant sentiment. There is racism emanating from Trump and the Republican Party. And let's zoom out to the international level, right? All of us care about peace on the Korean Peninsula. All of us, hopefully in our lifetimes, want to see the unification of the Korean Peninsula. I do not think that that will be something possible if we have a president named Trump who says that Kim Jong-un is his best friend. I don't like that. I think that's even more dangerous, especially to the long-term stability of the Korean Peninsula and any future hopes of ensuring that we can come together to find a long-term path forward for peace in Korea. And so, Thank you again so much for all of the support that you provided for me over the past 8 years. Thank you so much for all the support that you are providing for me this year as I run for my 5th term. I will do my absolute best to continue to demonstrate servant leadership, in which this is not about me, in which this is not about me climbing a ladder. Right? If I wanted another title, I would have run for Congress years ago. Right? I am here and I will continue to run for the State House, at least for the next few years, to ensure that our community really has a seat at the table. That the next generation of Korean Americans, including folks like Tyler Lee here, has an opportunity to run for office and succeed, to create a template and a model, to build coalitions, to find common ground, because we really are stronger together. And so again, I thank you so much, and I hope y'all enjoy the rest of the evening.
격려의 말씀을 보내주실 네 분을 선정했습니다. 그래서 김성갑 정치참여위원장과 그다음 교육대표 미비박 회장님, 그다음에 차공에서 한호동 회장님, 그다음에 전 동남부 회장, 최명 회장님 순서대로 나와서 간략하게 격려 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다. 그래서 김성갑 위원님.
안녕하세요, 김선호입니다. 우리 쌤을 보니까는
안 들립니다. 크게 하세요.
8년 전인가 기억이 납니다. 마이클 혼다, 저 스라우라는 식당에서 마이클 혼다 의원하고 같이 아마 후원회가 있었어요. 그 당시를 생각해 보면은 정말 우리 쌤한테 우리 한인들이 최초에 이제 한 2세가 1.5세가 정치에 뛰어드는데 너무나 저조했고 그 당시를 생각하면 지금도 상당히 죄송할 뿐입니다. 사실은 아주 조그만 성의를 표했고 몇 사람이 모여서 이렇게 됐는데 그때 기억을 항시 저는 쌤을 보면 제가 죄인 같은 느낌을 받았습니다. 그리고 우리 쌤은 제 이웃에 삽니다. 사실은 슈퍼마켓 가도 만나고 학교 가면 학교 앞에서도 만나고 투표장에 가서 또 만나고 이런 우리 이웃에 사는데 우리 애가 특별히 우리 쌤의 1등 후원자입니다. 얘가 이제 27살인데 그 당시에 지금 자기 어떤 일에 모임이 있어요. 젊은 애들이 잭슨들이 피치들이 하이스쿨 이게 다 이런 데 다니다가 졸업을 했는데 자기네들 후원회가 한 몇백 명이 돼요. 이제 단체가 한 몇백 명이 돼요. 젊은 애들이 DDR이라는 거 이거를요. 거기 회사로 있던데 우리 쌤이 상당히 자랑스러운가 봐요. 항상 그런 데 가면은 쌤을 얘기를 합니다. 우리 민주당에서 상당히 이제 그런 직책이 있고 이런 소리를 할 때 애들이 우리 2세들이 그 당시만 해도 10년 전만 해도 우리가 지금이야 홍수정 씨 또 미셸 이렇게 많이 있는데 그 당시는 아무도 없었습니다. 10년 전만 해도 그때만 해도 우리가 이런 오늘과 같은 오선을 바라보는 이런 정치인이 나왔다는 게 상당히 자랑스럽고 우리가 이제 앞으로도 1.5세와 2세들이 정치에 참여하면은 정말 따뜻한 마음 하나라도 내 이웃한테 꼭 이 사람들을 후원을 하고 선거 운동을 해줘서 많은 정치 2세들이 탄생하기를 바라고 우리 쌤은 앞으로 이제 5선으로 끝내고 주에서는 6선은 없는 걸로 하고 연방으로 보내도록 우리가 함께 노력합시다. 감사합니다.
Did you understand that?
다음은 교육대표 회장님 좀
Like 70%?
you're the role model for their children 앞으로 지내서
갑자기 이렇게 자리를 사게 돼서 저는 조지아주 협회 회장님 반입니다. 제가 샘박 의원님을 만나게 된 건 제가 제 규리협회 회장을 맡으면서인 것 같습니다. 하지만은 저도 한국의 정치에는 관심은 많았었습니다. 하지만 미국에 와서는 먹고 살기 바빴고 이 자력이 올 때까지 어떤 분이 우리 한국분이 여기 미국 사회에 나가서 어떤 일을 하는지를 몰랐었지만 알게 되면서부터 제가 굉장히 자랑스럽게 생각을 했고 꼭 이런 자리에는 나와서 제가 도와야 되겠다 생각을 했었고 앞으로도 우리 잭슨박 의원님 그다음에 미셸 강 여기 오시지는 않았지만 미셸 강 후보님 같이 이제 화이트하우스까지 가는 때까지 막힘이 없도록 제가 도와야 되겠다라고 생각을 했습니다. 파이팅 합시다.
네, 다음은 조자 상공회 회장 하원 회장님 부탁하겠습니다.
안녕하십니까. 반갑습니다. 저는 아틀란타 상공회에서 회장 한오동이라고 합니다. 반갑습니다. 제가 여기 이렇게 쭉 와서 보니까 정말 아틀란타의 기둥들만 와 계신 것 같습니다. 그러니 우리 셀박이 앞으로도 대성할 수 있는 그런 기회가 여러분들이 주어질 수 있도록 도와줄 거 확실히 믿고 있겠습니다. 감사합니다. 셀박 화이팅!
화이팅!